I'm Tim Horn with HypnoConsult, Manassas, Virginia. The first question I want to ask you is, why are you here? That seems like a really relatively simple question, but the truth is, if you don't know why you're here, you can't really experience the moment fully. What we want to do is have a purpose in life. The big thing for the Success Magnet is, if you understand your greatest purpose, the greatest value you have in life, you can go for it 100% and try to achieve it. In a few weeks, with Astrid, we're going to discuss a value proposition. But the proposition I want to make for you today is this one. The greatest value for you in life is your own happiness. And if you realize that, if you put that out there, if you make it so large, so all-encompassing that anything that gets in your way has to be moved aside. There are no off-ramps. There are no ways of moving away from it. You become driven toward that. Everything else gets clarity. Randy Pausch, when he was making his lecture, the last lecture, he was dying of pancreatic cancer, and he discussed this very concept. He talked about, if you have something so great in front of you, you realize those obstacles are there for one reason, to show you just how badly you want it. And if that thing is so important, so all-encompassing, anything that could stop you from getting to it just moves aside. This is the Marine said, 4 ways to overcome an obstacle. You go around it, you go over it, you go through it, or you go under it, but you get through. When you have that absolute goal in life that you've determined gives you happiness, that's exactly what you will do. The thing I talk to people about is choice. You always have a choice in life. And the greatest choice you have is between love and fear. Most of us live in fear. We're afraid of losing something. And we're so afraid of losing something, we don't act on getting the things we truly want in life. And if you're not here today, at this moment, think about what this meeting could do for you, what meeting these people today could do for you to allow you to move toward a greater happiness. Then you're not truly taking this moment and living it as fully as you can. People talk about living in the moment. But if you capture a moment and it doesn't lead to something else, something greater, the moment in and of itself is wasted. I want to talk about the concept of where we live. Every one of you have a family. Every one of you have homes. You have friends. You have acquaintances. You also have a job. When I ask this simple question, I want you truly to take it in and examine it. Who are you? It's not a name. It's not a job. You are the culmination of every event that's come into your life. And every event that's come into your life has sent you on a certain path. And if you have determined that that path is leading you to happiness, you will find the greatest success in life. People come to me and they say, what I want to do is have millions and millions of dollars in the bank. Congratulations. Think about what a dollar bill is. It is a piece of paper that's backed by gold at Fort Knox. And the truth is, not enough gold to cover all the money that's out there. So that wealth in and of itself is an illusion. What can that money truly do for you that will give you happiness? What can that money truly do for you that allow you to live your life free of anxiety and stress? Not a lot. But if you know what it can do to give you happiness, if you have that one goal in life that will give you happiness, then the money itself has a purpose. Everything is perception. I'll tell you a story about a man in North Carolina with his grandson. They were sitting there in a nice ranch house, and somebody drove by. The man said, you know, I'm thinking about buying a house in this neighborhood. I'm wondering, are the neighbors nice? Are they friendly? Are they considerate? And the grandfather looked there and said, you know, how are people in the neighborhood where you live? He said, you know, they're kind of cranky, grouchy, not very nice. And the grandfather said, yep, they're pretty much the same here. The man drove away. About 20 minutes later, another man came by. He rolled down his window and said, you know, I'm thinking about buying this house up the way. I see other people coming by asking you, tell me, are there nice neighbors here? Are they friendly? Are they, you know, gracious? He said, well, how are people in your neighborhood? He said, you know, they're wonderful. We go out, we have picnics together, we share things. They're really caring and considerate. And the grandfather said, they're the same here. The grandson said, well, Grandpa, the man drove away. He said, Grandpa, let me ask you something. 10 minutes ago, this man came by and you said that the people here are horrible and they're nasty and all the rest of this, but this man, you said they were happy and gracious. And the grandfather looked at the grandson and said, you create your own neighborhood. Whatever he's put on them, he will make that. That's what we do in our lives. If you look at your life as arduous, if you look at your life as troubling, if you look at your life as a series of painful events that move you forward, you will live a life that is arduous, full of painful events that you have to work through. The rules of the mind. Every thought creates a physical reaction. If I ask you to remember something pleasant in your life, those of you who are parents, holding your child for the first time, allowing your child to take its head against your chest, and you know somehow they're hearing your beating heart. And for a mother, the child's hearing the beating heart from a different perception, not from when it was in the womb. That moment, that transcendent joy cannot be expressed in words. It can't be put down in paper by some brilliant author, some poet. But it's a moment that captures true happiness. And if we can extend that out, we can have truly great lives. If I talk to you about a horrible incident, something bad that's happened to you, a family member who you held their hand as they finally died, that creates a different feeling within your body. Well, the question is, should it? A year and a half ago, my sister Trish had glioblastoma multiforme. She was dying of cancer. I held my sister's hand when she took her last breath. I heard her gasping, I heard all the rest of that. And I held her hand as she passed away. And I had an opportunity to feel the pain of that moment. But instead, what I did was I thought of all the joy my sister had given me, all the times we had shared together, all the fights we'd had because we care so much about each other, we were willing to fight over it. And I saw the love of that moment. And I saw the fact that I loved my sister so much, I was willing to hold her hand and go through that pain. That's the choice I made. And now, a year and a half later, I know I've done the right thing. That fills me, that sustains me, when the pain at one time could have. What you expect to happen tends to be realized. If you go into a situation expecting to fail, your subconscious mind will create it for you, so you will fail. If you go in with the expectation of finding joy and happiness, those are the things you will find. Expect the best. If you expect the worst, your subconscious mind will make it for you. If you know that the exchange you have with someone will teach you a lesson, will move you forward in your life, moving toward that greater happiness, that will happen. We create our own destiny. Your imagination is far more powerful than knowledge. One of the greatest inventors of the 20th century was a man named Nikola Tesla. Those of you know who Tesla was. He lived in an imaginary world. People tell him all the things that couldn't be done. Direct current is great, it's the only way to go. But Tesla determined that there was a way to make alternating current that would allow electricity to go further and keep all of its power. In his mind, he saw these things happening, and he never questioned whether it was right. He allowed his imagination to fill in all the gaps. It was said that he would imagine some invention and sit down and do a perfect drawing of it, just from his imagination, because he allowed it to be vivid. But he was using his imagination, understanding positive things, things that could put the world forward. Had he used his imagination to think of horrors, had he used his imagination to think of pain and dishonoring other people, that's what he would have done. Never fail to use your mind in the best way possible. Do not allow it to be poisoned with cynicism. Do not allow it to be poisoned with fear. Once you've completely and fully accepted the idea at the deepest level, it will remain until replaced by a more beneficial idea. This is the idea I want you all today to accept. You deserve the best things in life. Seems like a simple statement. You deserve the best things in life. A second thought I never want you to forget, one I want you to live from now on, is you are the most important person in the universe. That's not a statement of being selfish. If you are the most important person in the universe and you search for your joy, you will be that beacon. You will show other people how to get their happiness. And people who care for you, people who love you, will appreciate that you're happy, will appreciate the joy you have in your life. And the people who don't should have no effect on you. They are the ones who will pull you down. There are two ways in life to feel better about yourself. One, you build yourself up, you do incredible things. You push yourself and you determine limitations do not exist. And you just keep moving forward. The other way, the cynical way, is to beat everyone else down so that they are lower than you. I can't tell you how many times I deal with that. I'll have a client come in who's trying to help someone, and this person keeps bringing him down, or they tell them why what they say will not work. They're so negative. The person who truly cares, the person who loves, the person who's trying to help them, can get beaten down and be pulled into that vortex of angst, anxiety, and stress. But that's a choice. Eleanor Roosevelt said that no one's been made to feel inferior without their consent. Don't ever give anyone else consent to make you feel less than what you are. And what you are, you should imagine, is so incredible nobody else can encompass it. The most important thing to being successful is starting with this. You are successful. Remember that. Define what success truly is for you. And don't do it in a moment. Don't do it in 5 minutes. Take the time to truly think about it and go through all the aspects of what success truly could be for you. Never lose sight of what that happiness is and work on the steps to achieve that happiness. As you work along the steps, things may prevent you from getting there. Wonderful. That tells you just how important that happiness is for you. And you prove to yourself that that is the right type of happiness by overcoming those obstacles. When you achieve this happiness, realize you weren't greedy enough. Get greedy again and go for more. You are your own universe. Everyone and everything that comes into your life has a purpose. Think about that. If everyone who comes to me is there to allow me to grow, to get stronger, to truly suck the marrow out of life, then I can get no bad from them. Now, it comes down to this. There are two things in life. There are gifts and there are lessons. Someone comes to me, they say, Tim, you know, I like the shirt and the sweater you're wearing today. I have a choice. I can look at them and I can say, you know, it's not really neat. I should have had it ironed a little better, and the sweater's a little old. That does two things. A, it makes me feel bad about myself, as if I didn't do enough. And B, it tells the person who is talking to me that I do not respect their opinion. They have given me a gift, and I've not received it appropriately. There's a wonderful saying, one of my favorite Jewish sayings. It's more blessed to give than receive, but they are thrice blessed that receive graciously. Receive compliments graciously, and honor the person who's giving it to you by thanking them and telling them you appreciate what they just did. That is a win-win. Lessons. If someone comes into your life, something comes into your life, an event, a person, and they start to bring you down, you evaluate what they did. A, is what they said to me beneficial for me? Can I take that from them and allow my life to go forward? Then it's a lesson. No pain from it. No negativity. If they say something to you that is absolutely not true, you can reject it. Cancel, cancel. It has no power over me. The third thing, You determine that what they said was partially true, and you can change it. We change our minds all the time, not always for the best. But you take what they say, you took whatever the greatest truth was from it, and you accentuate it. You harp on it. And you take the golden nuggets that were buried deep down. There's a wonderful story about Ronald Reagan. Of course, it's apocryphal, but it really gives you the thing about Reagan that was best was his undying optimism. There's a little boy. He comes downstairs at Christmas. There's a huge box. Boy opens the box, and all there is a box full of horse poop. Boy looks at me, walks away. Got me horse poop. Ronald Reagan came down. Little kid, 8 years old, opens it up, smiles, and he begins digging down. His father said, "Yeah. Ronnie, what are you doing? There's got to be a pony in there somewhere." It's the way you perceive the things that gives them power or takes the power away. I think what I want you to do today is ask the most important question. What truly will bring you happiness in life? And after you do that, determine what the barriers are. And then when you find the barriers, ask yourself this: are they truly there, or did I create them against myself? And if you did, you have the power to change them. Today is the day to take action. And tomorrow, the action continues. Thank you.